I've always been a creative thinker and problem solver, and I've always been an innovator. And so I think those are qualities that entrepreneurs have, and we are problem solvers. The role that my family played in shaping my view of art was that art was not just something that was related to individual expression, but it was something that occurred within community. And so that's what I would say shaped my view of what art is and how I actually view art even today. My grandmother, my mother's mother, was a milliner. And so she made these beautiful dress hats, and that was her art form. And she was also she had this beautiful handwriting. She was a writer as well. And so for me, art was everyday part of my life. She used her talents and her skills as a milliner to make a living, and she was good at it. And she actually would bring me along with her when I was younger. I would go with her sometimes to help sell her hats at local market days. Then there were women who would come to her house for fittings, and I watched her process. I watched her work with her hat blocks. I watched her do these fittings for women. Well, I grew up in Inkster, Michigan, and both of my parents were adamant about giving me and my sister opportunities to really be involved in the arts. My father, he was an electrician by trade, but he was very much an artist himself. When I was growing up, I remember hearing all types of music in our household, everything from jazz to gospel, you name it, we heard it. The stories also that I would hear them tell, that's another form of art that has existed in my family, is the tradition of oral storytelling. I would say paired with watching my grandmother and going along with her to help sell her hats, I would say that was an art form that I experienced very early on in my family, is the art form of oral storytelling. In terms of a form of preservation, I think culturally, that's how a lot of families have passed down their histories, is through oral traditions. Those were also the experiences that initially introduced me to entrepreneurship, was through watching my grandmother, my grandma Vondale, create these beautiful hats. It was like my introduction to the world of creative entrepreneurship, that you can make a living from your craft and from what you do. I often tell people that I am an artistpreneur. Sometimes I'll say creativepreneur, but I often tell people I'm an artistpreneur because I don't see them as being separate. Whether you are an artist who owns a physical brick and mortar like I do, I think if you want to really be successful, you have to have an entrepreneurial mindset because, you have to be willing to get out there and market your work, share your work, and also position yourself for success. Even as an artist, you have to do that. I knew what it was to be an entrepreneur. I just think that I had to find my own path, and I've always loved greeting cards. I'm sentimental, so especially when people are really important to me, I hold on to the things that they give me. I have greeting cards that go all the way back to high school. Greeting cards that my father has given me. I create opportunities for other artists as well so that they can also thrive here in Vesey Lane Goods, East Village. Every time people come into the space, they comment on how calm and inviting the space is, and that's intentional on my part. I think that's an extension of my family and the way that I was even raised, and how I believe people should be treated. And ultimately, even though I do know that in the space we offer high quality greeting cards, gifts, and home decor, we're a community gathering space. And when people come in, I think that what they're drawn to is not just the artwork and the artistry and the gift items that you find here, but they're drawn to the experience that they have when they come into our doors. And I think that's tied to my family as well, because When you treat people well, they want to come back. When people know that you care about the community that you serve, they include you. And here in East Village, they've included me. So I first learned about ProsperUs Detroit through the Michigan Black Business Alliance, through their Capital Connect program. I had to pitch for my business before a funding panel, and ProsperUs Detroit was connected to me and to my business, and I followed through on their application process, and I officially received my funding last year in 2024 to open my first brick and mortar for Vesey Goods. My loan officer was Shakir Braylock, and Shakir, he was amazing. I say that because he took this complex process and he made it straightforward for me. I had never taken out any business loans before or applied for funding on this scale. You know, they say first impressions are lasting ones. He gave me the impression that I was cared for and that my vision for growing my business was important to him and to ProsperUs Detroit. Since then, I've gotten a chance to know different team members, but the team member that really stands out to me is Jalicia. She will reach out to me. Of course, I will always reach out to her if I need anything, but she will reach out to me and update me on different opportunities that have come through ProsperUs Detroit, and I appreciate that. In the context of the present and also the future, it's important to understand where we've come from and where we're at, because in order to even begin to change the narrative moving forward, you have to be conscious of what impact you want to make, today. One day I'm going to be someone's ancestor and I want to make sure that when they think of me, that they think of me in a way that I was someone who not only accomplished a lot individually, but that I created opportunities for people in my community. If my great-grandmother could see it, they're no longer living, but I think if they could see it, I think that they would be proud. Even when I'm having maybe a challenge, like that's something that helps motivate me too. Not just the fact that I love what I do, but I have actually thought about the things that my family and my ancestors have had to overcome, and that lets me know that if they can do it, I can do it. If they can make it, I can make it.